So how did I go from having 13-inch twig arms to having now 16-inch pretty decent sized arms in just about a year and a half? There's a lot of things I did to my arm training that is different from what a lot of people do, specifically to like their splits and how they actually train their arms, how many sets they do. There's a lot of things that I find people don't do to specialize training arms, because arms tend to be a lacking muscle for a lot of people, and they definitely are for me even now. But I can definitely say that of the muscle groups that I've brought up, the arms have been one of the most impressive ones, because they were really bad when I first started lifting, and now they're just kind of decent. But following this trajectory, eventually my arms are going to be a strong point in my physique, and that's where I intend to go with it. Now here in this video, it's just some simple principles as to how I grew my arm. This is specifically to those of you who are looking to enhance the size of your biceps and triceps. This video is not at all about strength. It is literally just about bodybuilding, building the size of your arms so your physique can look a lot better. So just some notes at the beginning that you may or may not know about your arms and the training of your arms. I don't even know why I need to reiterate this, but you need to be in a caloric surplus. You need to be eating a lot of food if you actually want to grow your arms, and you need to be training heavy, you need to be training hard, you need to be going to failure on pretty much every set, especially for a muscle group like arms. So make sure you are training hard, make sure you're eating enough food, because if you don't have those things down, then you can't complain about this video not working. If you want bigger peaks, you want to focus more on supination, and if you want thicker biceps in general, you want to focus more on a neutral grip. That's why people say hammer curls are more for the thickness of the bicep, and just regular supinated curls are more for peaks. If you want bigger peaks, do more supination. If you want thicker biceps, do more neutral grip. Pronation is more forearms. Don't worry about that, to be honest. But for most people, we want both of them. So honestly, combination of neutral grip and supination for most of your bicep exercises. Now for triceps, there's a long head and the short head. Obviously there's a medial head, but that's not really that important because pretty much every exercise hits the medial head adequately. If you want to target more of the long head, you might have heard this before, you do more overhead extensions. And if you want to target the lateral head, you do more regular press downs in front of you. Now, the lateral head is from the side and the back where it really shows, it really makes your arm look 3D. And when you're doing a front double bicep, it's that long head of the tricep that kind of like swoops down right here and gives you like that 3D look from the front. Both of them, again, are important, just like the bicep segment, so you don't really want to neglect one or the other. Train both of them. It's just a physiology tip for you to know. And now what I actually did to grow my arm. So first things first, I had a separate arm day. I didn't do push-pull legs and I didn't do upper-lower. Why? Because these splits severely neglect training your arms separately. And when I say separately, it doesn't mean like chest and arms or shoulders and arms. I mean just arms. As in, you go to the gym and all you train is your biceps and triceps. This may seem like a waste of time because they're such small muscle groups. You know, it's easy to train arms. Well, you need to make your arm training hard enough. That may be a reason why you're not growing your arms, because you're thinking in that way. Like if I go into the gym and I'm thinking, oh, it's just arm day, whatever, I can slack off, it's kind of easy, you know, I might not even need pre-workout. Are you really doing everything you can to build your arms? The reason a lot of people think this is for some reason because they have the notion that because arms are a smaller muscle, they can train with less sets and less intensity, but that's not how it works. People think, oh, I'm already hitting my triceps when I'm benching. I'm already hitting my biceps when I train back, so I don't need to train them hard. But do you even feel your biceps when you do lat pull downs? If you're not a beginner, obviously, because when you first start lifting, of course, you feel your biceps when you train back. Do you feel your triceps when you're doing chest? If you do, you're doing something wrong. But usually if you're like somewhat of an advanced lifter, you don't really feel your triceps when you're doing bench. You don't feel your biceps when you're doing rows. So yes, they are being worked in the movement, but in the same way as your calves are being worked when you're standing up. There's no hypertrophic benefit, which means that you don't have to tone down your volume or intensity because you've already hit them on the chest or back day. You still hit them with high intensity and you still hit them especially with high volume. Now, push-pull legs and upper-lower, the two splits that I mentioned, don't work with arms. The reason for that is during push-pull legs, you hit your triceps when you're already done chest and shoulders. Nobody starts a push day with triceps. Nobody starts a pull day with biceps because then it ruins your back training. You only get a bicep pump. You leave the biceps and the triceps for the end of the workout when you're already fatigued and when you're most likely to half-ass it and do like 4 sets for each. If you're doing that, then of course you're not going to get big arms. Same for upper-lower. Because upper is like 5 different muscle groups, it is not easy to add in arms into all of that. It's not easy to do chest, back, shoulders, and arms And even if you do, you're not doing enough sets for any of them. You're not doing like 8 to 12 sets for your arms because you're busy doing chest, back, and shoulders. This is why you need a separate arm day, and this is why I recommend every arm workout, you do 8 to 12 sets for both biceps and triceps separately, and you train them twice a week. That seems like a lot of volume. You're going to be sore the first few weeks, but this is how you get big arms. You hit them with a lot of volume and, of course, a lot of intensity. And that next tip is higher volume. For the same reasons that I already mentioned, this is something I'm doing. I'm doing a lot more sets for arms. In fact, I'm sometimes doing more sets for arms than I'm doing for like chest. I'm doing more sets for triceps than I do for quads, more sets of biceps than I do for hamstrings. I'm not telling you to do that, but if your legs are way ahead of your arms, why not? If you're really trying to grow your arms, add in more volume. It's just a simple concept. I don't know why people have to overcomplicate it and say it's overtraining, because you're not going to be overtraining. You're going to be getting huge succulent arms. So when you hear how to get big arms, people say throw the ego aside, don't train heavy, and only train light to moderate with a lot more reps. That's true, but it's also false. You want to do both. You want to train heavy and you want to train moderate. I'm not talking about intensity, I'm talking about weight here. When I say moderate weight, I'm still meaning go to failure. I'm just saying do more reps. There's different types of muscular stimulus that occur when you train heavy versus when you train moderately. So when you're training heavy, it's a lot more stress and tension on the muscle, versus when you're training light, it's simply just more lactic acid accumulation and buildup. And those are two different kinds of stimulus, and we want both of them in pretty much equal proportions as much as possible. You don't want to focus too much on one thing because your body's going to only adapt to recovering that style of training, and it's eventually not going to be as beneficial later on. And obviously you don't want to only go heavy because you're not going to get that lactic acid buildup or a very good pump towards the end of your workout. Now, separate things for biceps and triceps to keep in mind. For more advanced lifters, I think beginners can kind of get away with anything, but for more advanced lifters, you want to do curls behind, in front of, and just to the side of your body. Now, what I mean by that is change up the angles in which you curl. A lot of people, what they do is they do standing curls, they do more standing curls, and then they go on a bench and do more standing curls. So what you want to do is change up the angle in which you're hitting your biceps. Do a cable curl where your arms are behind your body. Do a preacher curl where they're in front of your body. Do like that cable curl where you're squeezing like this, kind of like hitting a front double bicep. That's a different angle. And then, of course, you have your in front of your body angle. There's a lot of ways to do it. You can do unilaterally, alternating, together. There's so many ways to hit your arms, and that's a great reason why there's so much room for you to grow them. You just have to make use of all these different types of training. For triceps, I recommend something that I don't see many people doing, and that's some kind of like heavy pin press, like a close grip bench press. You can do it with the Smith machine, or you can do it in a squat rack. Basically, you bring the bar down only till around here, and it's like at lockout. So the safeties are on the Smith machine, or like the safeties are in the squat rack. You lock it out at the bottom and you just simply extend out like this. You simply extend out, that's the rep. This is something John Meadows recommended in his video, the late great John Meadows. And he's someone that I've learned a lot from, so I highly recommend his videos, but that's something he recommended for bigger triceps, and I've definitely attained great value from those videos. Add in pin press to your training, because a lot of people don't do that heavy style of pressing for their triceps, where the real focus is actually the triceps. You may feel it in your chest once in a while, but there is still going to be a great deal of tricep activation, especially after you do it as like the second or third exercise of the workout. Now, there isn't much more to me growing my arms. I mean, it's pretty simple. This is just the standard of what I do. It's not too complicated. It's something anyone can follow. Anyone can grow their arms. I'm going to continue to prioritize training my arms, because although I have brought them up a great deal, they're still nowhere near where I want them to be. That's it for the video though. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you hopefully in the next one.